Hey mamas, welcome to another episode of Confessions of a Small Biz Mama. My name is Kristen Ingram and I am a mom. I'm a business owner. I'm the founder of Bookkeeper Training School, and I am walking on this journey with you as we try to navigate business and life and parenting and COVID and reopening and shutdowns and all the things. And so, this month I wanted to spend some time talking about spring cleaning, but not spring cleaning the way that, we traditionally think about it with wiping down our walls and cleaning our floors. No. We are spring cleaning our lives and our businesses. And so if you have not listened to the last 3 episodes of the show, go back and check those out. We've done an episode on spring cleaning your life, spring cleaning your business. And I'm super excited because this week we are talking about spring cleaning your finances. I get so many questions from people about how to get your money under control. How do I just stop the cycle? And so, I think the reason I get so many questions about this is because I actually had a blog called Payment Free Life, where I wrote about our journey getting out of debt. My husband and I paid off over $220,000 of consumer debt. We've turned that around. We now have emergency savings. We have lots of equity in our house. And so, and we've got savings for retirement and all the things. And so we get a lot of questions from people like, what do I do? Where do I start? And so in this episode, I am going to talk about 3 steps to start winning with your finances. And we're not going to talk about budgeting at all. Okay. I'll tell you, I've done the Dave Ramsey budgeting. I'm a numbers person, so it worked for me. For the vast majority of people, it does not work. And I'll tell you that once we got out of debt, it didn't work anymore. It really didn't. And I'll tell you, kind of why that was in a second. But I think for a lot of people, sticking to a budget is really hard. It's a lot to track. It's a lot of work. And so I'm going to show you a way that you can get ahead financially without doing all the tracking. Okay. And so we're going to talk about 3 steps today. Critically important. Okay. So step 1, if you are going to change your financial situation, I need to know what your goal is with money. And it can't be like, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be broke. It cannot be those things. You need to have a very specific goal. So the goal could be, I want to pay off my credit cards, or I want to pay off all my debt other than my mortgage, or I want to build up an emergency fund, or I want to put, X amount in my retirement account every month. You have to have a very specific goal to start with. Okay. And that goal can really be whatever you want. If you're not sure what you want it to be, I kind of want you to sit down for a second. Okay. Somewhere where it's quiet. And I want you to close your eyes and ask yourself, if you made one change with money, which one would you make that would help you sleep better at night? And that's different for everybody. So for me, okay, when, after I had cancer and I sat down and I looked at all of the payments that we had, and I said, my God, if something happens to me, like Jeff is doomed, because like all of our debt was essentially joint debt. And so if something happened to me, the payments that he would have to make every month were astronomical. And so I said, okay, my first step is going to be to eliminate all those payments. And so we need to pay off our credit card debt. We need to pay off our home equity line. We need to pay off student loans. We need, we need to pay it all off. because even now, right? So right now we don't have any car debt. We have one student loan left. We have our house, which, the mortgage is super low on. And we have the motorhome. Okay. Those three items make our monthly cash flow needs incredibly low. And so for us, we don't have to generate a lot of cash flow to make our lives work. We just don't. And it's like so what you can do with with any extra cash that you have, it's awesome. It's awesome to think you can save for your kids' college, you can save for your retirement, so for me, right? That was the thing that helped me sleep at night. When that debt was gone, the next thing that helped me sleep at night was having a nice fat savings account. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to build that up. Let's build that up, build that up, build that up. And so I think that you have to find that thing that's going to make you sleep better at night. Okay. So whatever that is, you might be going, oh my God, I don't know how we're going to pay for college for the kids. And that might be the thing that, that you worry about. It might be, oh my God, my car payment is too high, right? How do we get out from under that? Whatever that thing is for you, I need you to figure that out. And I need you to, you need to have it somewhere, right? You need to have it front and center so that you see it on a regular basis. And you need to know, it's knowing your why, right? Why do you want to do this? Because there are going to be times that's going to get hard. Okay. What I actually used to do is when we were getting out of debt, and you can see this on Payment Free Life. We had like a spreadsheet, and every time I pay off a debt, I'd cross it off on the spreadsheet. Right. And I had it on the wall right across from it was right behind my monitor. And so every time I'd be like, oh, I really want to buy this thing. It was right there, staring me in the face. That made a tremendous amount of difference for me. And, if it's saving for college for your kids, maybe you have something that has the dates that all your kids are going to start college. If it's paying off your car, maybe what you do is take, you can run calculators for this. If you had your car payment and you invested your car payment every month, how much money would you have in 20 years? Okay. Things like that are just really they're really good motivators. So have to know why you want to do this. Okay. And it has to be super specific. Okay. It cannot just be, I don't want to be broke anymore. Okay. Cause that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not enough. It's also not something you can check off and say, look, I've done it. Right. Because let me tell you something. One thing that I have learned, not only in our own money journey, but also helping my clients in their money journeys, is that money, right, will fill whatever vacuum you put it in. And so the more money you make, unless you have a plan, right, and I'll tell you how to put that plan together, your spending will grow with it. And I know some of you, if you had the crappy college job, and then you got your first, good job after college, and your income went up, your spending went up with it, right? It went up right with it. And then if you got a promotion, or you got a better job, or you got married, you're like, okay, well, now there's two incomes. This is great. Your spending probably grew to that too, right? Okay. So money will fill that void unless you have a plan for it. Okay. So that's why I need you to have a plan. So what's your goal with your money? Okay. That's the first step. The second step is we need to figure out where your money's going right now. Okay. And I'm not talking about having a budget. Okay. But what I want you to do is I want you to gather up all your credit card statements that for the credit cards you use on a regular basis. I want you to gather up your bank statements. Okay. We need to kind of know all the ways that you're spending money. Don't forget the store credit cards. Don't forget Kohl's. Don't forget Target. Go get everything and bring it together. Okay. And now here's what I want you to do as you're going through. I want you to start canceling things. So here's one thing that we do in our house. So we are not chronic subscribers to anything except Amazon Prime and Disney Plus. Okay, because I'm pretty sure if I cancel Disney Plus, Eric would lose his mind. Okay, so Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, those are the only two things that we subscribe to on a regular monthly basis. If we decide we want to turn on Netflix, right? Which here's one thing people don't understand. You turn these things on and off at will, right? You're not locked into a subscription with Netflix. You're not locked into a subscription with Hulu. So what we'll do is we'll say, oh, I really want to watch this thing, Bridgerton, on Netflix. Ooh, good show. Okay. So I want to watch Bridgerton on Netflix. So you know what I did? I turned on my subscription. I paid for a month and then I turned it back off. But if you can't cancel the subscription because then you don't have access. No. If you turn on the subscription and then turn it back off, you have the subscription for 30 days. And so that's what we do. So we'll sit there and say, okay, I want to watch this. You can watch whatever else you want to watch while the subscription's turned on. But at the end of 30 days, it's done. It's done. Go through all your subscriptions, turn things off. Okay. Look at things that you're not using. Okay. And I also, by the way, I do that for annual subscriptions as well. So if I think I'm going to use something and I buy annually to pay, get the discount, I will then turn it off after the first day so that I don't get charged again in a year. Okay. But I want you to go through your statements. Okay. And you might have to go through a couple months worth of statements. And I want you to turn off things you're not using. Okay. I want you to figure out, are there any areas in your life where you're spending way more money than you think you are? Okay. I know one thing, and this is so, this is embarrassing, but when when COVID started, the amount of money that I was spending on Amazon and on groceries, made me ill. It really did. Because I think we were just so freaked out and we didn't know if we were going to be able to get things and I'm sure a lot of people did that too, right? They're trying to figure out okay, how are we going to get food and what are we going to stock up on? And, and so I remember going through those statements and we didn't save any money for probably 4 months of COVID. Because we didn't know what we needed. And then we started doing stuff to the house. And so I think it's really important for you to kind of go through your statements and figure out the areas that you turn to in stress. And I think we all have those, right? We have those areas where, okay, my thing is I stock up at warehouse clubs in times of stress. That and I order stuff on Amazon. So, I'm kind of going, I go back to my Amazon spending from last year and I'm good God, it's just crazy. So that's kind of where, cause I stopped going to all of their stores. We didn't go anywhere for, 6 months. So I want you to go through your spending. Okay. I want you to figure out where your pain points are. I want you to unsubscribe from store emails. I want you to think about not using your store credit cards. Okay. At least in the areas that you turn to in stress. Okay. If there are any areas where you're my God, I think I'm spending too much money here. Okay. Let's mark those down. Okay. Stop all the text messages from the stores. Okay. Because the thing is, I think a lot of us, we sit there and we say, well, if I get the text message from Bed Bath and Beyond, I have a 20% off coupon. But then you go into Bed Bath and Beyond when you wouldn't normally because you have the coupon. Stores are really smart, right? And the marketing people, they're very, very smart. They know at what frequency they have to issue you coupons to get you to go in the store. Okay. And so, what I find is that I spend less money when I don't get all the emails from the stores. The other thing you can do too is you can set up rules and have them go like straight to trash. And then if you really need a coupon for something, you can go search trash for it. So that's another option as well. Okay. So once you kind of have an idea, where your trap areas are, where you spend and stress, you've turned off a whole bunch of subscriptions. I want you to keep track, by the way, while you're turning things off. Okay. While you're unsubscribing from things. I want you to keep track of how much money that is every month, because that is going to be the starting basis for change. Okay. So, if you turn off Netflix is what, $11.99 a month now. I had like a whole bunch of like little crafting subscriptions that I got, the COVID crafting subscriptions. Do you have any of those? It's just me. I don't know. Could just be me. But I had a subscription to like the Cricut, the Cricut membership. I had that. I had a membership to a site that I was getting like the credits so I could download content from my Cricut machine. And so I'm telling you, it ended up when I turned all this stuff off, it ended up being, I think it's around like $90 to $100 a month worth of different subscription things that we were paying for. And then, the other thing I did is I'm like, okay, we're spending way too much on groceries. And so how can I pare that back? So I started to look at that, and I wanted to cut about $200 a month out of our grocery budget, right? So between the subscriptions and what I thought we were overspending on the grocery budget, that was $300 a month. Okay. Now I bet for a lot of you, finding $50, $100, $150, $200, $300 a month would be amazing, right? Amazing. And I bet you that for a large percentage of you, there was stuff that you were spending money on that, I can cut that out. I won't even feel that if I cut that out. Okay. And so that's step two. Step two is figuring out where your money's going and turning some of that off. Okay. Keep track of how much that is. Now, the third step, okay, this is where we implement. Okay. So remember that goal that you made with your money? I want you to spend smarter, and I want you to pay your goal first. Okay. I know a lot of people say pay yourself first. I want you to pay your goal first. So whatever your goal is, whether that might be paying down debt, that might be building up savings, whatever that is, okay? Every time you get paid or you pay yourself, okay, if you're self-employed, or maybe it's when your spouse gets paid, you figure out, but when there's money coming into your account, okay, let's say that money comes into your account twice a month, okay, or maybe you take a draw once a month, whatever you want to do. Whatever that amount is that you said that you're going to save by changing your spending, the first thing that I want you to do when money comes into your account is I want you to take some of that money out and put it towards your goal. Okay. So if you say, okay, Kristen, I went through all my stuff and I have $150 a month that I saved from undoing subscriptions, or I'm going to cut back on my groceries, or I'm going to cut back at Costco, or I'm going to stop going into Target. Target's one of my things. Oh, good goodness. The Target drive up. Can't even, I'm telling you. Okay. Whatever your thing is. Okay. Let's say that it's $150 a month that you've recovered. If you get paid twice a month, or your spouse gets paid twice a month, you take draws twice a month, then $75, okay, from your draws every time you take a draw, that's going to go towards your goal. Okay, so if it's paying down debt, you're going to make a $75 payment to whatever debt that is. If it's savings, you're going to take $75 and put it in savings. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Okay, you with me? So that's the first part. Now, how do you make sure that you actually cut back your spending in the areas you say you're going to cut it back in? Well, if it's a subscription and you unsubscribe, then you've unsubscribed. Okay, and I want you to put something. So like if you go, if you're like, oh, I'm going to resubscribe to Netflix, like I want you to have something on the bottom of your TV that says like pay off debt. Okay. Or payment free life, or whatever will motivate you, so that when you go to resubscribe to that, you've got to think about it a little bit. The other thing that you could do too is you could change your password. So it's something that reminds you of your goal. So if you have to log into Netflix, that login is going to remind you of your goal. That's another thing you need to do too. Okay. All right. So now, if credit cards are a weakness for you, okay, the average person, when they use a credit card, spends up to 25% more than people who don't. So if credit cards are a weakness for you, no amount of rewards is going to make up for your extra spending. Okay. And so you might want to consider not using credit cards, or only using credit cards for gas. Okay. Or areas where you're not going to overspend. Okay. If you overspend on groceries, okay. I know right now, like with all the delivery services, like Dave Ramsey talks about putting, using cash. I can't use cash to buy groceries. Like I do grocery pickup, not an option. What can you do? So a couple things. First of all, I found that if I do grocery delivery and I do it once a week, I spend so much less on groceries. It's when I do like multiple trips from multiple stores and all the different delivery from all the things, I spend so much more. So I try to stick to one store a week. And I pick that store based off of which one has the majority of the things I need. And that kind of rotates every single week, depending on what we're ordering. What you could do is you could put your grocery money on a prepaid card, and you're going, but Kristen, it's $5 to buy a prepaid card. Yes. But how much extra money are you spending at the grocery store? Right? Because you don't really have a limit because you're putting it on your credit card. You could open another bank account. Okay. And put your grocery money into that bank account. And then you've got to, whatever's in that account, that's all you've got. Right. You can use cash if you wanted to, but like I said, right now, that's, a lot of people that doesn't work for. Okay. But I really think that the key to making this work is taking out the money for your goal first. Because if that money is gone, if it's not there, okay, you are limiting yourself to how much you can spend. Okay. And like I said, if credit cards are a weakness for you, if you're not limiting your spending because of your credit cards, then I would consider not using credit cards. I would consider calling the credit card company, asking them to lower your limit. They will do that, if you ask. That might be another way to keep your spending in check. But you've got to figure out a way that you can keep your spending in check. Okay. It could be that, like if you have a coffee habit, go buy gift cards for Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever your coffee habit is, go buy them at Target, okay, and use those. Okay. And if you buy them at Target, you get 5% off if you have the Target debit card. Okay. Or the Target credit card. It works for both, but you do save 5% on gift cards. So that's kind of neat. And if Target is your weakness, right, and you want to use that Target debit card, then maybe you set up a checking account just for the Target debit card. Okay. A lot of banks now, if you have one checking account with direct deposit, they'll let you open other ones. Okay. So you can check with your bank and find out. But, for those of you that have read Profit First, and I know, a bunch of my students in bookkeeper training school have read or are reading Profit First, it's kind of a way to do Profit First for yourself personally, right? Open a couple targeted bank accounts, and then use those for spending in particular areas where you might overspend. That's kind of the Profit First concept, right? So, and if you haven't read Profit First, it's a book about managing your business finances using multiple bank accounts and percentages. And there's a way that you can kind of modify that for personal as well. That works pretty well. All right. So I would love to know, I'd love some feedback from you. Where are your problem areas? So I know my problem areas when I'm spending the warehouse club, your BJ's, your Costco, your Sam's Club, Target. Oh, I love Target. And there's a Target like right up the street from our house. It's funny because I've had to I don't go on the site anymore. Amazon was a big one for me. And I think that, I don't see the Amazon emails anymore. So that really, really helped me. Target, I had to shut off the notifications in the app because it was just making it way, way too easy to spend. And so, just think about what triggers you to spend money and how can you turn those triggers off? Okay. So number one, have a money goal. Okay. Have a very specific money goal. Number two, figure out where your money's going and get some of it to stop going. Okay. And then number three, okay, spend wisely and pay your goal first. All right. So I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what your spending traps are. And let me know one thing that you're going to change this month to get your financial house in order. All right, mamas, thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much for sharing the show. Can you do me a favor? If you liked this episode, can you grab your phone right now? Okay, if you're listening on your phone, take a screenshot, okay, of this episode and post it on social media and tag me, okay, at Kristen L. Ingram CPA. Okay, tag me on Instagram. You can tag Small Biz Mama on Facebook, but tag the show, tag me, and just let me know you're listening. Okay, I'll tell you that you guys are out there talking to people about the show. I know you are because I'm seeing it in the numbers. We see it every single month. Our numbers are growing. You guys are you're super, super helpful. So thank you so much for helping us grow the show, for helping us get our message out there. Especially for this episode, I'm just super passionate about, helping families and helping women become more financially aware, to become more financially successful. And I really believe that our school systems are failing teaching our kids about money. And so we need to make sure that our kids know basic money rules, basic money education. And so hopefully this will help you increase your money education. And then you can start teaching your kids about money as well. So, all right, mamas, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.